Welcome to the Monday Method. I'm your host, Liz Mayer, life, career, and business coach, and I am obsessed with helping you create the life you love so you stop living for the weekends and start loving your Mondays. This show is dedicated to you women who do it all, from building careers to building families to becoming the version of yourself you love. This show provides you with the tools to get you off the hamster wheel of burnout so you can give what matters in your life the best of you, not the rest of you. Are you ready to create a life so good you look forward to Mondays? Then let's go. Welcome to the show today. Well, if you're catching this frequently after I've recorded it, it's actually Wednesday, November 6th, 2024, and it is the day after the election. And I'm sure listeners are feeling a variety of emotions. Some of you might be excited. Some of you might be actually a little bummed. Some of you actually might be really grateful that the election is over, quite candidly. And I get all of these feelings, right? This has been kind of a crazy last couple of years. And I think a lot of folks were ready for change. A lot of folks were hopeful for things to go a certain way. But then I think collectively, as I talk to a lot of the women in my community, there's just a overall emphasis on being relieved that the election is over. And a big reason for that is because the election period has a lot of propaganda, right? It can be really sickening. You don't really know what is factual and what is puffery. And there's just sometimes a sense of divide during an election time, right? You know, it can mean disagreeing with your partner. It can mean screaming at your own mother because maybe she doesn't agree with you. And so the thing I want to talk about today is that a lot of us are likely feeling this sense of somewhat relief that it's over, whether you agree with the outcome or not, whether you voted in the manner of what happened or not. And you might be thinking, well, thank God I don't have to deal with politics for a while. Lucky me, right? Once this week is over, I'm out of here, right? Because no one wants to deal with politics. But I would actually say, since you're a working woman and you're focused on your growth and you're focusing on creating a life and a career where you actually look forward to your week, you look forward to your Mondays, I want to talk about this. Because a lot of you avoid politics in the workplace. You're basically like, I'm not paid to play that game. I am here. I'm here to put my head down. I'm here to do good work. I don't want to get entangled with the politics. But I'm here to tell you that that is a really common mistake. And I'm not talking literally about politics in relation to discussing politics with your coworkers or anything like that. I'm talking about turning a blind eye and ignoring the workplace ecosystem that is in front of you, that you're a part of, and honestly, that you need to influence specifically if you want to grow in your career, okay? So a lot of you think that this workplace game or office politics is something that you should avoid. You might want to pass it off as beneath your moral code and potentially distracting to the real work. But the reality is the more that you grow in your career, the more that you advance, the more influential you want to become, because that's what leadership is, right? Leadership is influence. The more that you need to be very aware of workplace politics, because these politics are an inherent part of the culture in which you work. And it's imperative as you grow that you understand these politics and you ultimately learn how to play the game. And even me saying that, play the game, might take you aback a little bit. But the reason why I'm saying this is your work is defined by the politics of the place of your employment. And you are either influencing that agenda, you are either aligning to that agenda, or you're either reacting or could be a victim to that agenda. So what I want you to do is I want you to have an empowered career. I want you to be able to influence where your work goes, what your work looks like. And this means you need to be a well-informed citizen, employee, leader at work. This also means that you need to participate in the politics. So what does that mean when we're talking about work? Number one, be informed, know what's going on in the business. Number two, have a point of view and show up. And really, pride yourself on showing up in this area, in this ecosystem, no differently than you would when you cast your vote on election day. Okay? Because here's the thing, lady. No one is going to give you a badge. Nobody is going to give you a letter, sweater, a pin, a flower for sitting on the sidelines. You're doing yourself no justice. And if you are the leader of a team, you're not representing them. It's part of your job to take responsibility in the organization that you're a part of. And I think the thing that's important here is when you take part in the workplace politics in a productive way, which is what I'm going to talk about to you in a second, you are actually starting to lead by example, and you will feel a sense of empowerment. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of times you might think that engaging in politics is like icky and just mudslinging, but there's a good side of politics. You can be for the good. You can use your influence to promote your vision, promote your growth, and promote things that do need to change in a way that is positive. So what I want to give you in this episode are just a few ways to play the game, play the workplace politics game, and not feel like a piece of crap. All right? So here are my tips for you. Number one, you need to pay attention. You need to know about the climate of your organization in which you work. Okay, you need to know who are the main players who get things done, what is motivating them, what are the points of tension that you see. Maybe there's internal points of tension, maybe there's external points of tension in relation to how your company is performing in the market. But you really want to be aware of who is driving the decisions, what factors are influencing the decisions, why things are the way they are, and ultimately, whose agenda or what agenda is driving the work on your desk. I hear from a lot of my clients that they just can't wait to get into the work instead of talking about the work or selling in the work. And I totally get that. But again, the more you advance in an organization, the more being aware of these things that are going on around you and that agenda that you're a part of, the more you're going to be able to understand what is driving the climate and how do you influence it. Things like, is your company behaving with a lens of growth, or are they behaving more in the lens of uncertainty, and why? What is driving that? What needs to change? So really just kind of crafting that awareness and paying attention is rule number one. Specifically, if you're in an environment where there are leadership changes, why do you think those things have changed? Really, what is that new leader's agenda? How is it different, and what is driving that? Okay, so you get that rule. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to craft your agenda. Yes, that's right. What do you want for yourself out of your career or out of your current role? What do you want for your team? Whether it's if you're leading a discipline and you want advancement, or if you just, want more opportunities for your people. Who do you want to align to? What do you want to align to? What problems do you see that you want to solve? And it's important not just to answer those questions, but really dive into how does what you want complement or contrast with the work you do today and the organization you're a part of. This is really just taking that awareness that you've cultivated in the first step and providing and crafting a point of view for you. This agenda helps you start determining a strategy of how you're going to move forward, because it's really, really critical that you do have that perspective of where you believe you can make an impact. And when I use the terms crafting an agenda, you might think, gosh, that sounds manipulative. That sounds dirty. It's not dirty. It's smart. If you want your voice heard, if you want to continue to grow, you have to have a point of view on where, what, and how you do that. So after you've crafted that agenda, it's really time to enroll support. So if you've done the point where you've really assessed the organization, you know some of the key players, you know what you want to accomplish, now it's coming down to what partnerships do you need to further your work? Who needs to be on your side? What types of relationships or stakeholders do you need to partner with and collaborate with so that they contribute to your campaign in a way that makes it stronger? A lot of the clients that I work with are part of these large organizations that have a lot of cross-functional teams. And what I hear often is, we're just working in silos, And oftentimes silos are really just an effect of focusing very much within your own sphere, within your own discipline, within your own team or business, or however you're structured. What really helps eliminate those silos is cross-functional partnerships. Sharing that agenda that you've created and saying, hey, I see this opportunity to advance in these areas. And really, as you enroll support, show these individuals what's in it for them. I remember when I was driving a major transformative organizational change, I had teams on one side that were just kind of like, oh gosh, not this. We don't want to do this. And then I had other teams that were excited and they saw the vision and they believed in it. And so it was really imperative that I built relationships and partnerships and I enrolled support with those individuals and leaders that were on my side. That way, it wasn't just me selling what I was trying to accomplish for the team and for the company. It was about really extending additional voices and showing the benefits and the payoffs to the other individuals in the other parts of the business. This is going to be critical as you play the game. And then another key component, and something that really cannot be understated, is gaining leverage. So if you've really crafted your agenda and now you're starting to get people on your side, it's really important to start determining what are the holes in your plan. Where are there areas where you need proof? Where is there data that could be more compelling? Maybe you need to look at other industries or even competitors to help really support your cause. The thing of it is anytime you are trying to change anything, you tend to usually have a really passionate view of where you want to go. And passion and emotion is amazing. That's what's going to get you out of bed. That enthusiasm is going to keep you going, and it will help you persuade and influence others to hopefully support you. However, that data is critical so that you are not just driving an agenda on opinions alone. The more data you have, the more power you're going to have. The more that you're able to network and really understand what others are doing well and how they're growing or how they're changing, the more case studies or external evidence that you're able to build, the more likely you're going to be able to influence the opinions of others who might not be on your side. In the example I had shared, it was really easy for me to sit down with some of my peers in certain departments and have them get on my side. And that's because I had relationships with them, or it was very easy for me to talk philosophically about the change I wanted to drive and what was in it for them. However, the other sides of the fence who might not have seen the immediate benefit of the change I was trying to drive needed a lot more influencing. I needed to really persuade them differently. And that's where the data points became critical. Really not about my opinion, but about the proof and the facts and the stories that really helped get these individuals on my side. And the last thing I want you to do is I want you to check yourself. I want you to avoid the mud. The very reason why some of you might be relieved that this election time is over is so that you can simply avoid the mud. But the thing of it is that you're always going to have a reason to criticize, to critique, to complain, to argue. As you're driving any sort of agenda, as you're aiming to influence your career growth or your growth of a team or your impact, you need to distance yourself from mud-slinging behaviors. Not just what you do, but also avoid the people who are doing a lot of that. We've all heard the New York Times rule or the Wall Street Journal rule, which is if you wouldn't have it attributed to you on the front page of a paper, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't write it if you wouldn't want it to be attributed to you and someone to read it. You just need to run a clean campaign. Be professional always. So just to recap, political influence in your workplace is not dirty. It's smart and it's strategic. You just have to do it the right way. Pay attention. Know who is driving the agenda, what's driving the agenda. Craft your agenda. What do you want for yourself? What do you want for the team? What is necessary? What are the critical milestones? Enroll support. Make sure you gain leverage by getting compelling data to further influence and build your case, and avoid the mud. See, that's not so bad. When you see the big picture and understand that so much of politics is really just people, you can start to really get out of any of the areas that intimidate you and recognize that you playing from a place of power is something that is going to create more of the results that you want out of your life and out of your career. And most importantly, playing this game means you're participating. You're using your voice. You're actually representing voices that may not be heard. You are leading. And that's how you make changes for the better. Just like what politics and all of these leaders were designed to do, to make us better. You can do this. Play the game. Thanks so much for joining. I hope you got something out of this, and I hope that you can use what you've learned today to build a life where you look forward to Mondays. Keep leading, my friend, and I'll see you soon. Well, hey, friend. Thank you for spending time with me. As a thank you for spending your very limited, precious time, I want to offer you access to a free masterclass on how to create personal and professional success without burnout. You can access the link in the show notes or head over to lizmayercoaching.com and click on the link to access this free masterclass. Thanks again for spending time with me, and I cannot wait for you to love your Mondays. See you, friend.